Vampire legends certainly vary from each culture, but it seems like there's enough creepy vampire stories from around the world to make you believe that they could actually exist. Here are creepiest vampire legends from around the world. Number 10. Dhamphir, the Russian vampire. This mysterious vampire legend comes from Russia, and there's only one thing that will quench his thirst more than vodka. You guessed it, human blood. This vampire could pass off for a normal human, but the only thing that will give it away is its metal shiny teeth. It'll do more than just drink your blood, it'll feast on your flesh as well. Legend has it that it loves the taste of hearts since so much blood passes through it. The Dhamphir prefers hunting down children, but when it's really hungry, it doesn't care whose blood it's sucking. It also won't mind the taste of dirt either. It's believed that during winter, the Dhamphir will actually chew its way through the grave and then go back into sleep mode once the feast is over. In contrast to traditional vampires, it comes up during the day and sleeps at night. Sounds like one productive vampire. Number 9. The Chupacabra. The legend of the Chupacabra originates in Puerto Rico after livestock were found completely drained of blood. This dates back all the way to 1995. It seems as though the beast was only concerned with the blood and nothing else. In the first attack, 8 sheep were found dead, and each one had 3 puncture wounds in the chest, making the farmers believe some mythical vampire creature was responsible. A few months later, in August 1995, another similar attack happened in the town of Canovanas, Puerto Rico, where 150 farm animals died in the same fashion. Many believed originally that it was from a satanic cult. In any case, someone or something really wanted the blood of these animals. Descriptions of the Chupacabra differ from culture to culture. Some think it's a scaly green reptile that was responsible. Others believe a fanged kangaroo type creature. What makes the Chupacabra unique is that it's able to drain blood and possibly even organs from these 3 little holes. Farmers in the Ukraine came across a mysterious creature that doesn't look like any animal we're familiar with. They called it a Chupacabra because of its fangs. Based on strange discoveries, it seems possible that it does exist, but what exactly does it look like? Number 8. The Pentagon Malaysia. One of the stranger and more frightening vampires on this list is arguably the Pentagon. This mythical vampire can detach its head from the rest of its body and then float around. This one tends to go hunting for victims late at night in a pretty gruesome fashion. According to legend, it'll float around with its spinal column and internal organs still attached while it glows in the dark. The internal organs can also act as tentacles in a way to move obstacles out of its way and to latch on to the source of the blood. Nothing is off limits for these terrifying creatures of the night, and they'll devour just about any mammal in sight, including babies. Don't forget about the evil woman's incredible long tongue either. This isn't your average tongue, and it's shaped like a straw in order to drink your blood easier. It can also apparently go underneath doors too, so watch out. We certainly hope it's not real, and even if it's not, it's certainly frightening enough to the point to keep you out of the country of Malaysia. Number 7. The Noonter. If you're kind of a germaphobe, you might not want to hear about this one from Germany. The Noonter wasn't necessarily out there trying to suck everyone's blood, but they definitely could rise from the dead and cause mayhem, kind of like vampire zombies in a sense. This evil creature would rise from the dead 9 days after being buried. It would also be covered in horrific diseases that would spread very rapidly and was basically like a walking biological weapon. The plague would terrorize little German towns, and people claimed it would appear often during the Black Plague that struck Europe. The wounds are oozing with pus and horrifying scabs. Normally, when people actually saw this thing, they'd run as far away as possible. But if it got close enough, it certainly had no problem with taking a bite out of someone and drinking their blood. It almost sounds like a contaminated zombie we talked about in our Types of Zombie video. The legends most likely came when Germany was suffering from pestilence and to keep children away from sick people. Or could some sick people have actually been mistaken for dead and buried anyways? Did they rise up from the ground and attack people in anger? Who knows? Number 6. Ancient Greek vampires. The ancient Greeks had similar legends to what we would consider to be a modern-day vampire. A daughter of the goddess named Hecate, named Ampusa, was described as being a demonic bronze-footed creature. She'd roam around, feasting on blood, but would take the disguise as a beautiful Greek woman. This is one woman you don't want to mess with, and you shouldn't let her beauty fool you. She would seduce men with her beauty, and as they fell asleep, she would feast on their blood. When she was really thirsty, she'd find homeless people sleeping on the sidewalk and attack them as well. However, one day, she decided to attack the wrong guy. The almighty Zeus was sleeping on the street one day when she went in for the kill. Zeus then overpowered her with his wrath, and Empusa was defeated. In her original form, she's depicted as wearing a bronze slipper, having a donkey-like leg, and a prosthetic bronze leg for the other one. Number 5. Indian vampires, or Ventalas. One of the vampires that originates from the Hindu mythology is the Ventala, which is a class of demons who have the power of entering a corpse and being able to take over the body. They can also take over the soul of living people and make them suffer that way. Most of the time, they only possess the body of people, but can also possess animals. They're often spotted lingering around at cemeteries and prefer to go after bodies that weren't properly buried. They simply wreak havoc on society, and once they take the form of the human body, they become bloodthirsty. They have no human memories, no emotions, no sense of pain, kind of like a zombie in a sense. In its original form, it's described as being a bat-like creature who hangs upside down from a tree, and they look similar to what you see in this photo with a long tongue. It's believed in India that the soul of a person who's gone insane has a chance of becoming a Ventala. There also seems to be no way to kill them either, and they just find a way to host a new body. Sometimes shamans are able to interact with these spirits, and they might look like what you see here in this photo. Number 4. Swamp vampires. Legends of swamp vampire monsters existing in the Louisiana Bayou have circulated since the French settled this region back in the 1600s. The Cajun people know it as the Rougarou vampire. This creature is said to be a werewolf that inhabits the swampy lands around the southern area of Louisiana. It's been passed down quite often as a vocal legend, so it's a little bit difficult to know exactly what the original sighting was. Some claim that it's a human-like creature with the head of a wolf, while others believe that it's a blood-sucking vampire-type creature that's certainly under the spell of voodoo. The story has possibly evolved to keep children of the bayou in check and to keep them from going out at night. Whatever the case may be, there's still a ton of large alligators, explosive panthers, and brain-eating amoebas out there that you don't want to get attacked by. Voodoo has been known to make some crazy things happen, but could it have really created some vampire-type creature? Number 3. Southern Slavic legends. According to Southern Slavic legends, it takes about 40 days to become a vampire. There are usually some notable stages that they must pass through. They form quite mysteriously and begin as an invisible shadow, and they gradually begin to gain blood from living sources. The more they feasted, the more they began to gain notable features. It begins as some kind of jelly-like creature with no bones, and later on will develop a human-like body. Eventually, with enough blood, you won't even be able to tell the difference between a human and a blood-sucking creature that wants to kill you. Normally, these would develop into men, to the point where they actually could have children with the widow or a new wife. The child would be what's known as a dhamphir, who would have similar powers to a vampire, such as sorcery, but without the need for blood. There's also quite a few different legends that stem from this part of the globe, and there's also the female Croatian version. Normally, these women are originally evil and have lived a sinful life. These vampires come back to life only to return as cold-blooded killers. Other vampires from this region were created as a result of incest, and these creatures would terrorize their own family. In places such as Bulgaria, it became a reoccurring practice to place a pin through the evil person's heart to make sure they don't rise again. Number 2. Elizabeth Bathory. This next one we're about to mention seems like it's a mix between both reality and maybe a little bit of legend. Born into a family of nobility, Countess Elizabeth Bathory has been labeled as the most prolific serial killer by the Guinness World Record books, with an estimated 612 kills. But this number is often debated. She was born in the country of Hungary in 1560 after she married her husband at the age of 11. She was introduced at a young age of torture methods used on servants. It's stated that one day, when a maid was brushing her hair, she pulled it too hard, and then she slapped her and drew blood. She felt that some of the blood that got on her hand made her skin look more youthful and soft. The maid was later killed, and she took a bath in her blood. After this happened, her maids began bringing her other girls for the same reason. After doing this possibly hundreds of times, in 1610, a maid escaped and told the authorities. The authorities found chambers filled in her castle with women who were being tortured and used for their blood. And number 1. Count Dracula. Eastern Europe is certainly the capital of vampires, more specifically, the region of Transylvania. The real person he was named after, also known Vlad the Impaler, actually did have a taste for blood. He was born in 1431 in Sighisoara, Romania, in this ordinary house in the central region of Transylvania. He didn't actually suck the blood from his victims, but he was known to dip bread into buckets of blood from people he impaled. He would then eat a meal while he watched his victims being tortured. Dracula was transformed into a fictional character and has been featured in many different films and books. The modern-day portrayal of vampires seems to stem directly from his interpretations.